Hello. Today we visit a r/AskReddit post to see what is criminally overpriced. Make sure to comment anything you believe is overpriced. With that, sit back and enjoy. Funerals. Not funerals per se, but even for pets the prices for services surrounding death are outrageous. I had to put my cat that I'd had for over 17 years to sleep on Thursday, and the vet service that put her down and handled the cremation had standard and premium pet urns. The standard urns were included in the price and were either a cheap plywood box or a burlap sack. The premium urns were metal or stone with the option of touches like paw prints or a comforting saying inscribed on them. Of course, the nice urns were all an extra $150 to $200 on top of the $1,000 I was already paying for euthanasia and cremation. I remembered hearing how overpriced caskets are for funerals, so I decided to do some digging, and found the exact same, premium, urns on Amazon for $34. The remains are put in a plastic bag before being placed in the urn, so I'm gonna get a crummy free one for now and order a nicer one without the 600% markup, and transfer the remains over. I'd like to think my old lady cat would approve on me spending that extra markup money on a bottle of champagne to toast to her memory, anyway. We wanted to put a notice in the newspaper when my dad passed. But the cost was something insane like $1,200 while a regular classified ad was like $8. Even online versions of obituaries are way too expensive for what they are. Tell me about it. I lost my baby brother on 8/21 and my granny on 8/27. I had to pay for 2 funerals in 6 days this year. Literally about killed me financially, considering I was paying for cancer treatment for myself as well. My brother's funeral was nearly $17,000 and my family helped with granny's, but that was still another $10,000 I paid and my family paid the rest. That's not including the headstones, food, venues for the luncheon after the services. That added another $10,000. I was out nearly $40,000 in 6 days. This is why I always recommend people take out some sort of life cover even if it just pays out $10,000 to $15,000 on death. I've also told my sister if I perish that a cardboard or wicker coffin is fine, or cremation, whichever is cheapest. Scattering me at an existing relative's grave or treasured place is good. Absolutely no need for a headstone or mahogany coffins or any pish like that. College books. No, don't worry. You can sell them back at the end of the class. Well, some of them you can. For 1% of what you paid for them. Oh, looks like the new edition came out for this book, so we can't accept the old one. Yes, there's a difference between the books, the cover is completely different. I had one that said we needed 8th edition or whatever and it had to be that edition. I said, nah, and bought the 7th edition instead for about $200 less. The only differences I noticed in that class were the cover and that the page numbers were off by 1. That $200 extra would have been so worth it to not have to subtract 1 every single time. Once before a summer session started, I found a newly installed copier on campus, tucked away in a residence hall that hadn't yet been set up on the university network yet, i.e., it was free to use. So, I took a newly purchased economics textbook and copied the text of the chapters and end-of-chapter questions we'd be using through the rest of the semester. Then I returned the book for a full refund, which the bookstore offered during the first week of classes. I was very proud of myself. I saved something like $250. I told this story a few weeks afterward while I was visiting family. They were having a cookout. One of the neighbors who were there remarked, "Wow, you really shouldn't do that." I found out later that that particular person, one of my uncle's best friends, worked for the textbook publisher Houghton Mifflin. Ticket website service fees. Ticketmaster period. At the Paralympics they have a top guy from Ticketmaster present a medal. They booed him. Metallica announced a tour recently and the tickets my friends got were $260 before fees. There were then $80 in fees. Running a ticket website must be the easiest business ever. A lot of the time you can't even buy physical tickets for a concert at the venue anymore because these sites get exclusive deals with bands. It's such bullshit. Insulin. My mom is a type 1 diabetic, has been since 9 and she's 50 now. Medicine and health insurance has always been a struggle for her and it bothers me sincerely how there has been no progress on lowering those prices for people who need it to simply survive. Hey, my partner is a type 1 diabetic. We went several years without insurance. If you are in the US you can get old school generic insulin from Walmart for $25 a vial. It isn't as effective as the newer stuff, but it will keep a person alive. It is technically over the counter, don't have to have a prescription, but you do have to ask the pharmacy for it. We try to get the word out whenever we can to help those who might be rationing their insulin. Inkjet cartridges. Next printer you need, go laser. Definitely cheaper in the long run. I would rather not own a printer than have to endure inkjet. I love my laser even if I can learn Sanskrit while it warms up. Finally, cost of replacing ink is starting to become a selling point in printers, with the generation of refillable ink printers like Epson's EcoTank range. Instead of hundreds of pages per cartridge replacement, you get tens of thousands of pages per tank refill. It also means the ink can't be DR med. The difference in running costs will be extreme, and you get color, beating mono laser. The printer is over $200, but that's only because the old way subsidized the printer cost by forcing you to buy cartridges. Airport food and drinks. $7 for a granola bar. $6.95 for water. $22 for beer. $17 for a chicken wrap. $9 for trail mix. It's criminal. Oregon has entered the chat. They have a law prohibiting any markup at the airports from normal retail prices. We have this law in New Jersey as well. What OTG, the airport franchise operator, does is collect all their normal retail prices from tourist ripoff shops in Times Square. $5 bottles of water are the norm there. Last time I flew through Newark, almost nothing was open because it was an early morning layover. My family hadn't eaten all night. I got charged $40 for 6 pancakes that took half an hour to make, and they didn't even have syrup. Especially when they don't let you bring drinks into the terminal. You can bring an empty water bottle and just fill it up in the airport. You can even bring the fancy insulated ones, so long as you don't have water in them. My closest airport literally has nowhere for you to fill a water bottle intentionally. I was pretty sure they didn't have one last time I went, so I made it my objective to find a way to get water this time, and there is none without purchasing a bottle of it. Have you seen the price of lettuce in Canada? In a small town in Sask just last week, one bunch of cauliflower was $21. Oh yes, I am a chef. Lots of restaurants aren't serving lettuce at the moment. Even burger joints are charging extra. GFS shredded lettuce 2021, $3.50 per bag now, $21. Yeah. Duck lettuce. My chef's paying about $60 per case of romaine. It's all been ridiculous ever since COVID hit. I paid $130 for a case of iceberg, 24 heads. Same thing for romaine. A month ago a case was $30. Insane. Why is lettuce so expensive? Drought, and there's a disease spreading among the lettuce crops at the moment. Estimated about 1/3 of the yield this fall. I know everybody is going to give better answers, but for the life of me, I cannot without why suitcases are so expensive. They're just plastic shells, a zip and some wheels, yet they sell for hundreds. I paid about $200 for a Mary Samsonite carry-on about 20 years ago, and for me it was a fortune. That said, it's been through hundreds of flights, and except where the cats try to claw it and the stains from travel, it looks brand new. The workmanship is tight. I don't know why this reminded me of it, but I found out not too long ago that an older man I know used to be a hand model for Samsonite. This was decades ago, and he's since long moved past his hand modeling days, but at the time, he was in a couple shots which I thought was interesting. It was never his face or his body, just his hand and wrist. The only reason I even found out was because he had a few framed pictures of Samsonite ads, and in the ads, it was just a hand holding a piece of luggage. I asked why he had them framed, and he said it was because it was his hand and he needed to reflect on his glory days as a model, from time to time. Law. For what it's worth, he does have very aesthetically pleasing hands, so I can see why they chose him for the job. Human pharmaceuticals. My dog needed a chelation medication that my vet specifically said was on the pricey side, but recommended a pharmacy that she worked with. I called with prescription in hand, and they quoted $3,000 plus for a month's supply. Then the representative stated they accidentally read the cost for humans. Dog cost was actually $60. Same dosage, same pill count, but adding chicken flavor and putting a little dog on the label dropped the price 98%. So what you're saying is, if I ever need it for myself, I just say it's for my dog. I medically identify as a Bernese Mountain Dog. A hot dog place near me names all their dishes after dog breeds, and the Bernese Mountain Dog is covered in sautéed mushrooms, melted Swiss cheese, and Dijon mustard. Not super relevant, I'm just hungry. Inhalers. I have a crappy high-deductible plan and pay $220 a month for something I need to breathe. Edit, for Symbicort. I am an oddball and albuterol doesn't work for me. Second edit, my inhaler is that price until I reach my high deductible. I use the generic, but I thought it was easier saying Symbicort than typing out the generic name. If I use GoodRx, it doesn't apply to said high deductible. I appreciate everyone's suggestions. Look at Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drugs. You can get 3 albuterol inhalers for $39.90. It's costplusdrugs.com. And they don't accept any insurance by design, so they can sell their drugs at that price. My problem, and maybe the above posters as well, is that I can get the emergency albuterol inhaler for cheap, $7 on my insurance, and I rarely need to use it, but my daily Flovent inhaler costs $150 with insurance and lasts a month. There's no generic brand, and last I checked Mark Cuban's site doesn't carry it. EPI pens in the US, I mean, at least it's not something I need to use regularly, but those things are so expensive. I'm just trying to not die if I accidentally eat a peanut. Thankfully I found a much cheaper alternative, but they're hiking their prices now too. Edit due to questions. I currently have an AlviQ, but they are going up to $100 plus after this year, as I was recently informed by my allergist. How much are they, if you don't mind me asking? I'm in Australia and it's $41 for 2 EPI pens for my toddler. $700 for name brand, $350 generic. Wow, it's crazy. I knew that medicine in USA kinda expensive, but this price insane. I work in a pharmacy, and I've seen injections with a cash price of $10,000. It is absolutely criminal what they get away with here. Everything scalpers have gotten their hands on. Game stations, graphics cards, you name it. Houses is the new trend. I don't believe there is a housing crash, or there will be a crash. It would be a house price correction. The worst part is half the people purchasing homes right now aren't even living there, just renting them, and driving up both housing and renting prices. I bought a townhouse pretty much right before prices skyrocketed, and my neighbors on both sides are renting their units at high prices. My old apartment nearby has jumped $300 per month without them renovating the building. It's insane. On a small scale? Hummus. Seems like everywhere in the US, a small tub of hummus is like $5 or more and marketed like it's some kind of exotic, bougie foreign condiment. Dude, hummus costs nothing to make. I would almost wager it's cheaper to make than ketchup. And it takes almost no time. You pretty much throw shit in a blender and you're done. I had some friends over, and one of my friends didn't believe me. I walked into the kitchen, and 10 minutes later walked out with a massive bowl of hummus that just about everyone agreed was the best hummus they'd ever had, because they'd only ever had store-bought crap. It's super cheap, super easy, and I promise you, your homemade hummus will likely taste better than that Sabra bullshit. Eyeglasses. Because of a blatant monopoly. Luxottica controls 80% of the major brands in the $28 billion global eyeglasses industry. Forbes. Zenni worked great for me before I had LASIK. $20 for a pair of glasses isn't expensive at all. Thank you for watching all the way until the end, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment anything you believe is overpriced. Click the video above if you want to continue to watch my content. Until next time.